You're listening to Sploosh. A few months ago, we put out an open call for Singaporean writers to record their works with us for production and publication. Now, we are proud to present 3 poems and 4 short stories by Noor, Amanda Ray Ching Flynn, and Benedict Lim. Enjoy.
What do you think of when you hear the word home? How does it make you feel? Have you tried making a home? Hello, welcome to The National, an API that has collected the lives of 3 Malaysians building their home in Singapore. Set amidst the city-state's National Day celebrations across 1966, 1999, and 2020. Our protagonists in each time period trudges against the currents of the social order to carve out a space in which they belong. (1999) Cheng Yun and Caspian. Do you still remember the day you proposed to me? I had my suspicions when you asked me to go take a look at your new resale flat. I was looking at the master bedroom before I realized you became quiet. I turned to look at you and you were on your knees. I shrieked and said yes before you even began. Cass, we can't even get married here. Then consider this a mock proposal, just like what your boss wants, you replied. Your grin as bright as a ring, because you're my boss now. As a 40-year-old man holding down a managerial position at a government agency, I am more than capable of buying nice jewelry for myself. But I couldn't help but marvel at the row of 8 sapphires, all seated neatly on a band of platinum as you put the ring on my finger. I held my breath for the longest moment. Now, it's the 4th time I'm back at this place. I've nothing to do here since I'm leaving anyways. I know I have 2 weeks left before I have to go, but I want to have as much time with our imagined future as I can. A jet booms above me as I catch sight of the unopened boxes in the living room. The tape still securing tight on the top of the boxes. There was this huge one by the window. That must be the bookshelves, from that antique shop when we were shopping for furniture for our flat. I mean, your flat. In another life, or even just a few days ago, I would have opened it and gawked at all its ornate rococo finishes. In the afternoon heat, I let myself pause. This is the only place I can stop amidst all the planning I have to do. I hear only nothing now. I feel the acid tears and a howl rises from my tight chest again. I get in your car, sitting on the scorched leather seat. I remember the day you bought it. You can't keep your eyes off of it. You were ogling at the ads of the BMW sedan the moment you saw that James Bond film, Tomorrow Never Dies. I joked that you never looked at me that way anymore, to which you pecked me on the cheek. I resisted calling it our car despite your insistence. It's your car. I could only dream of buying one. Maybe I should have let you spoil me. Maybe then I'd be content, or try harder to be content. I saw sex as candy, and I wanted to try a melange of them. I didn't know why I was always so greedy. So I let you find other men too, thinking you'd like that. But you never did. You were always by my side. Where do you even learn to have this big a heart? Tell me. I need to know. I still wondered if I could have known, one way or another, that Somehow there'd be a sign that one way or another I could have dodged this to save you all the pain and suffering that I could only imagine. Yet, there you were, going through the trouble to install a computer beside my bed, just so you can work there, or play SimCity 3000 for half a day before you appease your father by turning up in the office after lunch. You took over my kitchen duties, even though there was always someone else to break your eggs for you. I could only sit on my bed and watch. HIV positive. It sounds too easy to say. I couldn't even remember what the doctor said to me. After he mentioned something about foreigners with HIV cannot stay in Singapore, I tuned out. I knew the rest of the things he said would be irrelevant. He asked me a few more questions, but got annoyed because I couldn't answer his questions. He clicked his tongue. Another man needlessly lost, he must have thought. He sighed as he let me out of his office. After that, I remember I had lunch with you. You knew something was up the moment you saw me. I could never hide anything from you. Worry was already burrowing in your eyes, your brows tensing into a knot. You set the menu you were holding onto the table, and I heard you take a big breath. Your shoulders rose in slow motion. That's when I told you. You pushed back from the table, the chair scratching against the wooden floor. The table rumbled in protest too. Your chest heaved so much I was worried that you were having a heart attack. Your deep-set eyes seemed to sink even further into your skull. Everyone around us turned to look. The waiters stopped in their tracks, wondering if these two regulars were about to get into a fight. You stood up and left. I followed. You always moved with such certainty. You always knew where you were going. I stopped myself from shouting your name because I didn't want to make a scene. I can still remember how the marble floors reverberated as you made your way outside. I found you hunched over, leaning by the taxi stand. I stood behind you. I laid my trembling fingers onto your shoulder, and when you took my hand, I was shocked by your gentleness. You looked at me, and I knew you were feeling my pain more than you felt yours. A ring rips through your car. I look at the back of the Nokia mobile phone you bought for my birthday last year, vibrating so violently beside the handbrake. I picked it up to see who was calling. It's you. Hello, I'm about to be done with work, so why don't you come pick me up for our little date later? I still can't believe your entire family is still working on a public holiday. I bet they wanted you to be like them and work till late tonight. You know how they are. Anyways, I'll wait for you by the front entrance. Okay. See you. I let the pause linger before I end the call, to try and tease out the traces of your resentment towards me. I've been doing it ever since I got the results. I was so sure that you'd break up with me when you knew. You had so many other suitors, and you were never happy about me seeing other men. I could see that you were secretly jealous, even though you never told me so. You'd call them my adventures, always with an expression that laid between a smirk and a pursed lip. I'm still surprised that you tolerated in the 15 years we were together. When I first told you about my needs, you told me you weren't surprised. what with me being a typical son of a preacher man. We are back at Delhi France again. You wear a satisfied grin after smelling the salted scent of the garlic bread. Even with that goofy smile, you still manage to look preppy. As you help yourself to the food, I take a good look at you. Your fringe hides your high forehead, as well as the 3 beauty spots there. I'd always trace them when we're watching television in your room. They always make me think you're some sort of royalty. So, whenever I'm with you, I feel like I'm in a cheesy rom-com, cooked up by some new Taiwanese or Hong Kong production company looking to cash in on the pink dollar. If I was making our film, I already know how to shoot the first scene. We will start with the meet cute of a lowly admin executive and the son of a local property developer. Maybe it start with a simple conversation in the break room. And then we can film you and your big romantic gestures. Like that time when you surprised me with 88 roses at my office. With you writing on the card, "Here's to us, forever and ever." Oh, there would be infidelities and inevitable temptations. But by the end of it all, we'd end up together. Maybe. If only. You sure you're not hungry? But weren't we here just 2 weeks ago when I first told you about my HIV? I catch myself. Even if I can't feel it yet, this thing, it's in my blood now. It's part of me now. It's mine now. No, I ate. It'll be a scandal perfect for the new millennium. HIV positive, orgy loving civil servant and snare son of local developer. Jesus. That headline would make millions for the papers here and in Malaysia. The back of my throat churns. I don't even touch the black coffee on my table. In another 2 weeks, I'll be gone. And I don't know when I will be back or if I'll ever be back. Changyun, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I bury my head in my hands again. You suggest we leave and that you'll drive. You won't tell me where we're going, so I become content with staring at the window, watching how the fancy condos of Orchard lets the self-assured HDB flats take its place. The radio is playing the theme song for this year's National Day Parade. The melody and the singing is so hopeful that it's as if it already knows Singapore will prosper through anything and everything. I used to feel all that optimism. So much so that I don't feel the 20 years of my life here. All the concerts I enjoyed with you, all the movies we watched, and the way you were so adamant about sneaking your snacks into the theatre. The dinners at our favourite carrot cake stall at that Clementi hawker centre, the trips to the humongous bookstore at Wheelock Place that I'd just go along, even though I only read the magazines, the drinks we had by the river. I remember all of it. Would I have had a place here in the first place then? Am I entitled to one after so long? Should I have volunteered at the animal shelters? Would all the research and planning for the Ministry of Strategic Developments be enough for a pardon? Besides, aren't there drugs for HIV already? Didn't that Taiwanese American doctor who's finding a cure get on the cover of Time magazine? Why do we even need to burn the body? I mean, feel fine now. There's nothing wrong with me, right? So why do I feel like a criminal? I say none of that to you, and only stare at your ring on my finger. I feel the roll of sapphires on the ring, willing it to change my fate. I shoot you a glare when I realize I'm at the parking lot near your new old flat again. The sun drapes hazy gold around us as the evening nears. You tell me to just follow you before I say anything. You're becoming so hard to read. A breeze picks up as we step off the lift. My head has yet to figure out what you're planning. We walk to your unit. Number 13-68. I would have blindfolded you, but I don't think that's a good idea. Before I ask why you unlock the front door, everyone shouts, "Surprise!" All of my friends burst forth and hug me. Your friends look on, smiling. Fairy lights floated across the ceiling at the pedestal fan word. The pizza's already here, and there's even an icebox filled with wine and champagne. We go talk to every group of our friends. I try to pay attention, and I try not to talk shit about how hot it is without any air conditioning, or how the fairy light isn't bright enough for the night. You'd always check up on me, wrapping your arms around my waist softly the moment you notice me drifting off, as you usually do at parties. But I gaze at the floor instead, waiting for the conversation to roll along as I let the pizza turn cold. Everyone leaves by 9. Tomorrow's a Tuesday, after all. We clean the place up after we send off our last guest, as if it's our first New Year's Eve at our new home. By 10, we're done. We leave after I throw the last of the trash down the chute. As we wait for the lift, I wonder, what would be our last day like? Would you come with me to the airport? Maybe we can meet 2-3 hours before the check-in counters for my flight open. We can have our breakfast at Starbucks, and you can get your favorite French vanilla latte, if they still have it by then. As we have our breakfast, the 2 trolleys with my luggage would sit patiently beside us, like 2 obedient dogs. We always wanted to adopt, right? And then, just like those lazy weekends with you by the beach, we'll just sit and watch my fellow travelers coming and going. You'll snap out of the reverie first, but you'll be gentle. You'll give me a slight nudge, but my head will still be on your shoulders. You get up and begin to push one of the 2 trolleys to the counter. Me, the stubborn child beside you. When we hug for the last time, I'll be numb and just stand there. I'm never good at this. You are. It'll be a while before I tighten my arms around your waist. Then there'll be an announcement. That is the last call to board. I'll have no choice but to join the queue to go in. And everyone will see a grown man trying to fight back an onslaught of tears and snot, tissue after tissue. We'll linger for a little more before I leave, waving frantically at each other from where we stand. Me inside the departure hall and you outside. Behind the glass doors, you're already on the other side of the world.